Hi, I'm Paul Germain, and welcome to another session of Smart Boating. As you know, if you watched the show before, we cover a variety of topics from docking to marine insurance. And the general idea is to share some information with you so you'll make smarter decisions and have more fun on the water. And this show that we're going to do today is going to be right up that alley. It's going to focus on marine electronics, and today we're at the West Marine Store in Woburn, Mass. And we're joined by a pretty knowledgeable guy in the area of electronics named Ian Barton. Ian?
Hey, Paul. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Good. Doing well.
Excellent. We got a really cool show here today on marine electronics. I think we're going to show people some useful facts and figures. But before we get into it, can you share a little bit about your boating background and a little bit about what you do here at West Marine?
Yeah. So right now I'm the hub manager for West Marine Pro. So I'm on the wholesale division side of business, and basically kind of process any orders coming through marinas and or boat builders and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Service kind of the northeast.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
all right. So you've been involved with the boating and that sort of thing for a while?
My whole family is big into boating, so I've been on boats since I was a baby. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's just the sort of background we need to guide us through the show today. So why don't we get started?
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, Ian, this topic of marine electronics is a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
Can't cover it all today, but we can cover the highlights,
Sure.
I think. And I thought we'd start simple. We'd start with the fish finders, and there's really basically three basic buckets there.
Sure.
There's the standalone, the GPS combo, and something that's integrated into a greater system. It seems to me that the most important points or value points for someone looking at dedicated would be the cost and the size of the screen they can get,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, definitely. So the standalone fish finders are obviously going to be much cheaper, and because of that, you can get a nice big 7-inch screen at a reasonable cost. So yes, that's definitely one advantage to that.
Okay.
For
How
sure.
about the combos, the GPS fish finder combo?
Sure,
A lot of people
yeah.
use that, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's probably our most popular level because you get the chart plotting features as well as the fish finding features, and
Yes.
usually come with a transducer as well.
Okay.
So a little more expensive, but a better value.
It's a better value. Okay, all right. And how about the ones that are part of an integrated system? That would be the last.
Yeah, obviously those come with much bigger screens. Price tends to be higher, but a lot more capabilities in terms of more powerful transducers, lots of different options in terms of three-dimensional views, things like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So someone says, okay, that helps. Directionally, maybe I'm going to get a combo. You're going to look. Apparently, there aren't many grayscales anymore, like in the old days, right?
There used to be, but they're all going pretty much color at this point.
They're all color, like the ones we have in front of us
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
And how about things like processing speed, or I guess footprint? The size of the display would be a factor. So whether it's color, pixels, making up the color,
Sure.
diagonal screen size. Transducers would be an important thing to think about when you're looking at this, right?
For sure, yeah. I mean, the cheaper end is not going to be able to support as powerful of a transducer. So if you need to go very far offshore, you need to go a lot deeper, you may need to step it up to something with a more powerful sounder inside.
Oh, right. And a lot of them are using this chirp technology these days, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, it's really nice. It's better target separation, more clarity. So instead of sending out one frequency, waiting for it to return, it sends out a range of frequencies, so you get a better image hitting different, density levels, things like that.
Yeah.
So
that's probably an important thing to have on people's checklist.
Sure,
these
it's
days.
kind of like standard TV versus high def TV.
Oh, it is.
In some ways, yeah.
Okay.
Easy way to equate it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, sure.
Well, Ian, we've got some dedicated fish finders here, some different models. Can you guide us through them briefly and share what you think is unique about them?
Sure, yeah. So here we have the Garmin Striker series. It comes in a variety of sizes and different levels of fish finding views. So right here we have the Striker 4, which is their most entry level, so to speak.
Okay.
Basically has, for the most part, just the traditional fish finder view, which most people are used to.
Yes. Yes.
So, if that's all you need,
I got a little 13-foot whaler.
or a
go
kayak
fishing.
or something like that.
I don't have
it's
much
perfect.
of a footprint. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Excellent. For under $200, basically $200.
And the other nice thing about the Strikers in general is that they all have GPS, but not chart plotting. So that's what sets them apart.
Oh,
so
okay.
what you can actually do is mark fishing spots and
Yes.
get back to them. You just need to know to avoid, anything in the way of you.
Sure.
And I'll
okay.
demonstrate that on one of these as
Okay.
well. So,
All right.
next, we have the same size screen, so a 4-inch screen, but this one adds not only the traditional, but also has the clear view. So
clear
that's the 455 800 in terms of kilohertz.
Okay.
Which basically cuts through the clutter and gives you a better image on the bottom. So
Okay.
more about the structure, less about the actual water
I
column.
see. Okay.
Again, all the same features as the regular 4, but the 4CV adds the clear view.
Yeah.
The 5, same as the 5CV, same as the 4, has all the same features, different size screen, so
Okay.
5-inch screen, and also in landscape rather than portrait. So, and depending on the boat and how you can mount it, it might be a better option.
Oh, all right. And that's what's the program running on that right
and
now?
yeah, so this is what they call the quick draw map. So that's
Quick draw.
that's your GPS.
Oh, it is.
That allows you to have or plot waypoints. It also allows you to draw small areas of contours. If you want to plot a waypoint, go back and then get those.
Oh, right,
Get those
okay.
more detailed bottom imagery.
Yes.
And as you can see here. There's no mapping. It's just a
Okay.
blank screen.
Yes.
That's the idea. That's why I
Right.
say it doesn't have chart plotter.
Good point. Okay.
Then moving on to the 7SV, that is, again, has all the same features as the rest,
Okay.
but also adds side view. So that's your
Side
transducer looking out to the right and to the left.
Who would use
Yeah.
that?
I mean, any fisherman that wants to be able to see a greater swath of water.
Okay.
Right? So
All right.
instead of looking directly down,
Yes.
it's looking out to either side too.
Right.
So-
Right. And typically, something like that will do both, right? It will look down and side to side.
Yep. So we can actually go back and I can show you. They also have the clear view on this one as well. So that one's looking down, whereas the other screen is looking up to the side, and that's why there was that line there,
Yes.
which is essentially the transducer, and then the bottom to either side, left
Oh, I
and right.
see. I see. Yeah, that's a nice clear view. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
that
shows
could really
you
help find the fish.
Absolutely. Yeah. And knowing whether it's sandy, rocky, weedy, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Where the fish are likely to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Ian, there's a whole variety of fish finders, makes and models. Can you help us? We're going to look at 3 of them that are combos.
Yep.
Starting with this one, can you kind of point out some of the unique things that people like about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, as a combo, it now has chart plotting. So all the ones we're going to look at now have charts. So as you can just touch the screen, this is another big thing. This is a touch screen, so
I like
that's
that.
a little more potentially intuitive for some people.
Yes.
And so, nice big screen. This is a 9-inch version. This is the 94 SV from
Okay.
Garmin. So this has that SV stands for side view. So it also has the side
nice.
view.
Yep.
So you can pinch to zoom, do all the things you can do with your smartphone, which is nice for the most part.
So if someone's used to that interface, they're going to feel very at home with this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I tell a lot of people is that you're so used to your smartphone, so it's
Right.
sometimes it can be a good idea to go touch screen.
Yes.
As you know, it can obviously do the fish finding as well. This also has NEMA 2000, so you can do autopilot, get any NEMA 2000 data pretty much through
Nice.
this, which is nice.
Very nice.
So that's very nice. It also can do Panoptics. Now that requires a separate transducer that doesn't come with it.
Oh, what is Panoptics?
So Panoptics is more of their live views and 3D views.
Oh, okay.
So for instance, RealView 3D is what they call their 3-dimensional down imaging.
I see.
In this mode right now, the fish come up as little colored dots or whatever the
Okay.
Panoptics is picking up.
Yeah.
But that's pretty nice. And then it also integrates Active Captain, so it has Wi-Fi. So what Active Captain is an app that you download on your phone.
Okay.
It allows you to do updates directly through your phone as long as your phone has an internet connection.
Wow.
So,
Cool
Yeah,
feature.
so you can
Cool
pair
feature.
that really easily. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at another one we've got down the line here.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
This is the
So this is
Lowrance.
the Lowrance
Yeah.
Hook 9,
Yeah.
Hook 2.9. This one is not a touchscreen, so that's one difference. So it is a little less expensive.
Right. Some people like that, right?
Some people
They
do
get
like that.
tactile
Absolutely,
feel,
yeah. I mean,
and
it can
they
be
say,
nice if you're out in high chop and stuff.
Small
it's-
boat, 19-foot Mako, you're trying to point to the right
Exactly,
thing. To have
yeah,
a button.
yeah, it can be tough.
That's
Yeah.
a nice
Yep. So
way to
the
do it.
buttons obviously are laid out here. You can do everything with those buttons that you can do with a touch screen. Just may take a press or two more, generally speaking.
This has a nice big display on
Yep,
that.
nice
That's-
big.
what is that,
This
like
is also a 9-inch,
9-inch?
just like
9-inch.
the Garmin we looked at. Yep.
Okay.
So obviously, right now, it's demonstrating traditional fish finding. But if you press the home button, this is the interface. It's very simple, which is nice. But it's got chart, down scan, structure scan, which is their side view type.
Okay.
You know what Garmin
Okay.
calls side view.
Yeah.
It's got traditional sonar and obviously chart plotting as well. So
Those guys have been in the fish finding business
oh,
for a
yeah.
long time,
Absolutely,
right? When
yeah,
I think of
yeah.
the old days, you know,
Yep.
who had you had
For
a
sure.
little bass fishing boat. What did you put on?
Absolutely.
Oftentimes you put that model on.
yeah,
They were
this is very popular among freshwater fishers.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Should
Yeah.
we take a look at another one?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
If we move down the line.
Now, this is a
so-
model by Simrad, and when
Yeah.
I think Simrad's been around a long time too, right?
Yeah,
These are
so-
well-established manufacturers we're talking about here today.
Yeah, and actually Simrad and Lowrance are both part of the Navico brands.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, so
Okay.
they're actually made by the same people, but they do a little bit, a little bit different
Typically
stuff.
focused on a
So-
little different guys. aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. This is more of the
people.
ocean-going
Yes, I think of big
fishermen.
sailboats and commercial
Sailboats would be their
things and-
B&G,
Yeah.
but Simrad is more of a powerboating focused
It
brand.
is,
Yes,
okay.
for ocean, yeah.
This has a nice big display on it.
Yeah, so this is actually a 12-inch touchscreen,
Right.
which is really nice.
So 12-inch and touchscreen, that tends to drive the price,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still, their Go series is marketed in that middle range, so it's still pretty reasonable for what you're getting.
It is, okay.
Yeah. The other nice thing, again, can do fish finding, chart plotting, all of that.
Yes.
But it also, if we go home here, you can also demonstrate. Oh, it's not doing it on this one.
Okay.
I'll walk over slightly over to this one,
Oh,
and I
okay.
can show you on here. Oh no, I'm sorry. It is on this one. I
Okay,
just
right.
missed it.
There's a lot of icons on
I
there.
apologize.
Well, that's-
but this one and the 9 that I was about to show it to you, it can do radar. So
they can both do
yeah.
radar.
And the new
Okay.
7-inch as well can do radar as well. That's called the Go 7 XSR. Just a newer version of the XSE.
That's nice to
support
be able to
radar.
integrate that in, because that's
Yep.
that's an issue when you have electronics, right? So if you're putting on new electronics, historically compatibility has been an issue, and to have a foundation that's been shown to be able to be easily added to, that can be a benefit to people, right?
True. Keep in mind that radars are proprietary to the screen, so you can't
Right,
mix.
okay.
You can't. With Lowrance and Simrad, it's a little easier
Yes,
because they're
yes.
the same company.
Yes.
But as long as it's digital and it's the same brand, you shouldn't have problems.
Right,
But you
okay.
can't add a Garmin Dome to a Simrad unit.
Can't get
so.
too radical. Well, Ian, this whole area of electronics, whether it's on the road or on the water, it's been really moving along over the
Oh, yeah,
years.
for sure.
And they have these standards that come up and get renewed and implemented, and they're very critical in hooking up a boat networking system, if you will. And it seems to me there was a popular standard called the NEMA 0183.
Correct. Yep.
What did you see, or what did people find to be the pros and cons of using that particular?
Yeah, well,
standard?
it's a hardwired cabling system for most things, and so it's a simple butt connection between two wires, which is nice.
Yeah.
But that can also loosen up. It's different colored wires on different types of units, so it can be a little confusing.
Yeah.
But it is still used on a lot of VHFs. So
It is,
yeah.
And some of the drawbacks, one of them I understood was it was very difficult to plug and play. If we had disparate points
Yeah,
of equipment,
yeah, it's
they
not
didn't
a-
like to
it's
talk
not
to
a
each other at different
standardized-
ages. That would confuse it.
Yeah, it's not as standardized as the newer NEMA 2000.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Sure,
Tell us
yeah.
about the NEMA, because
Yeah,
you've got a
so-
cable here
yes,
that
I do,
represents
yeah.
it.
So NEMA 2000 is a standardized cabling system. It's much newer than NEMA 0183.
Yeah.
And it's designed so that as long as it's NEMA 2000 certified,
Yeah.
it should just be plug and play across brands for
Wow,
the most part.
neat,
Yes. So
neat.
essentially what you have is a series of cables and tees,
Yeah.
which like this. So
Yeah.
you've got drop cables
Yeah.
like this or this.
This is the backbone here.
Backbone, yeah, it can be a backbone. Essentially the same type of cable.
Yes.
Often they're colored differently.
Yes, okay.
Just to differentiate. And generally backbones tend to be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But the idea is that it's a simple plug and play. You just line the pins,
Yeah.
and then screw these together, just like this.
Geez, what could be easier than that, huh?
Couldn't be easier than that. Yeah. So, and then as long as you, it's infinitely, you can add to it infinitely. So
wow.
you could just take the terminator, which you always need at the end of both ends of your network.
Your runway.
Essentially, it's a resistor that tells the signal to go back.
Oh,
But you
okay.
could take off the terminator,
Yeah.
just like this.
Yeah.
Add another T.
Right,
Add another
okay.
drop cable
Wow.
to something else, and then put the terminator back on the other end.
Really easy to expand,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, we've got a picture behind us here. I'm going to step back a little bit so people can see that.
Yep.
Because this is an overview. This is how it all fits together, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So basically here, it's a Garmin setup, but you've got the, couple chart plotters.
Yeah.
Those would be networked together by a networking cable, which is more like Ethernet.
Okay.
But to get all the other data integrated, you use NEMA 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So in that respect, you can add, say, an autopilot
Okay.
into the backbone, which
Yeah.
you can see here, which is a series of T's.
Yeah.
And then cables dropping into it, hence the drop cable name.
Yep.
Here we've got, for instance, a NEMA 2000 compatible antenna,
Yep.
GPS antenna.
We've got a VHF over here.
We've got a VHF 210, excuse me, which is NEMA 2000 compatible.
Yeah.
So all of those integrate, and you can get all that information right on your screen.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's nice to tie everything together.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It ties everything together into
Yeah.
one complete network,
Yep.
which is pretty durable,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and it's easy to add to and easy to deal with.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Ian, over recent years, manufacturers have become much more adept at growing the screens, and a
yeah.
couple of these units we got behind us are evidence of
Yeah,
that, right?
oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, right here we have the 16-inch NSS Evo 3 from Simrad. This is their hybrid touch multifunction display.
Oh, okay.
So this is fully networkable, unlike the combo units we talked about earlier.
Right.
This one can network to other screens and has a lot more capabilities.
This is crazy good.
Yeah, it's very nice. The screen's beautiful.
It is, yeah.
A couple things that we can do on this that we can do on a lot of other ones as well, but we'll demonstrate here.
Yes.
In the charts, we can do radar overlay.
Okay.
So what's nice about that? It's a nice safety feature to have in
Yeah.
that if you see something popping on your radar that you don't see anything on the actual chart,
Yes.
it's something you know to avoid when you can't see it, right?
Good point.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very nice feature to have.
Yeah.
We've also got where is it? In the Simrads with both the Go series we talked about earlier, as well as the NSS series, you have Fish Reveal. And Fish Reveal is a new technology brought out by Navico, Simrad Lowrance,
Yeah.
that can essentially take the fish returns from traditional sonar,
Okay.
which everybody's used to, and
Yes.
overlay that onto their structure down imaging.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what that allows you to do is you can see here we've got a lot of fish returns
Yes.
as well as the structure imagery, and that allows you to separate out what's actually fish versus structure. Helps you determine if what you're seeing is a bait ball or weeds or
Okay.
a pile of fish.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm no fisherman, but I know that's
You know that's a good feature.
yeah, it's a good feature.
Yeah.
So that's really nice, and that's pretty new, and it's something even if you have an older Go series from the very first one, you can update it to have that, and the NSS will do the same. So,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The Evo 3s anyway.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Should we slide down
Sure,
the display
yeah,
here and see what else
definitely.
we got? We got the.
Yeah. So here we have the Raymarine Axiom Pro, and below it we have a touchscreen version, which is just called the Axiom.
Okay.
The Pro adds the hybrid touch features as well. So you've got buttons and touchscreen.
Why would people want that?
It's just versatility. So if it's nice and calm, and it's just easier for you to touch the screen and do it
Or
that
an
way. It's
anchor
great.
or something,
Pinch to
yeah,
zoom,
right,
things like
dock
that.
or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah.
If it's rough, you can plant your hand and use those buttons.
Get a tactical response.
Yeah,
to
and
it,
just
yes.
redundancy is kind of nice.
That
too.
is nice. Yes.
So, a couple features that set the Raymarine apart from some of the other brands. Again, does a lot of the same stuff. You can do radar overlay, all that kind of thing.
Okay.
But on the Axioms, both the Axiom and the Axiom Pro,
Yeah.
you can have user profiles, kind of like car memory seats.
Yeah, you set them and it's always right for you when
exactly.
you come to use it
So
again.
on this one, essentially, you can have different profiles set up. So if you're the primary boater, you can be
Yes.
skipper and have everything set to the way you like it.
Nice.
And you can have a guest. So let's say you share the boat with a friend and he or she likes it a different way. They can go into their profile and change it, and it'll change to all the settings they like, and then vice versa. When you get back to your boat, you can switch it back and everything changes.
Very nice.
So that's really nice. And another thing is Raymarine, or FLIR now owns Raymarine. So what they have done is they've actually added a little bit extra integration for some of the FLIR cameras.
Okay,
Sort of a mid-tier FLIR camera.
All right.
And what that does is allows you to get, well, here it's displaying imagery of the engine room, but if you're looking out on the water, the Raymarine Axioms can actually target objects floating in the water and bracket them, which is nice.
That is nice.
Which the other, you can integrate a FLIR into the other brands, but it can't do that one feature.
I see. Okay.
So that's kind of nice.
That is nice.
Yep.
Wow. That's a nice safety feature, especially at night.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
You know, Ian, over the years, I've noticed, being on the water, that more radar is becoming more and more popular among more boaters. And so I thought we'd take just a quick minute to talk about that. There's the benefits of radar that I see is primarily visibility in poor conditions, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So night fog, and you can't anticipate that stuff sometimes. So it's nice to be able to be prepared.
Absolutely.
If it comes up suddenly. And there's actually two camps of radar, right? There's open array and there's array dome.
Yep.
And we've got an open array swinging around behind us here.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
So you see this, like you see a naval ship, they'll have the open array, they'll have the thing swinging, or if you see a big power boat. Now these are, my understanding is that these typically bring you a very long range in terms of being able to see targets.
Sure.
And great focus or granularity, right?
Yeah, they tend to be more powerful, so get better range. They're a lot more powerful. So
So if you've got a big boat and you've got some place to put this, you might go with an open array.
Yeah, and they do tend to be quite expensive too. So
they are.
And often are sold as separate pedestal versus array. So keep that in mind as you budget for that.
Okay, so there's money involved in there.
Oh yeah,
now,
for sure.
An alternative a lot of people I see taking advantage of, whether it's a sailboat or a smaller power boat, is something like we have a picture of here in the box. It's a radome, right?
Yes, yeah. So there's there are two sizes, 18 and 24, and the within the 18 camp is the most popular, just because the cost is lower.
Right.
But they also, because of that, because it's more popular, they invest a lot of energy into these and developing new technology.
Okay.
So
a lot of focus on them.
Yep. So there's now the old traditional versus the new solid state. So solid state throws off a lot less radiation. They use a chirp technology as well, so you get really good target separation.
Right.
And let's see what else.
You got a small envelope, so you can put them on a variety of boats. Like I've seen them on like ribs. They'll put them on the bar
mast,
right above,
Yeah,
because they get that low RF. They're not worried about cooking themselves.
Absolutely.
And it's light and it's compact and it gives them just the visibility they need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they're great, and it's a great safety feature to have.
Right.
For
Right.
sure.
And the only thing other thing we might point out is that if people have an existing electronics infrastructure, before they add it, they got to think about compatibility.
like
right?
I said earlier, the domes are specific to the screens in terms of brand. So you can't cross a Garmin dome with a Simrad unit.
Doesn't work.
It's not going to work very well.
It's a great addition to your electronics array. Just think about it carefully as you move into it, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, Ian, there's a lot of electronics on a boat these days, and some are more glamorous than others.
Yeah.
But some of them are critical, and I think marine VHSs fall into that category. Just a critical piece of equipment.
Absolutely.
And there's really two camps. There's fixed and there's handheld.
Correct.
And we're going to look at fixed for a second here. And I just want to kind of ground people a little bit. These operate by line of sight.
Correct.
Right? Yep. So if there's like a huge volcano in the middle, it may not get through, right? People have to understand how it works.
Correct.
It doesn't go up to a satellite, it goes across.
Yep.
About 25 watts of power typically in these, right?
Yeah, fixed at 25 watts across all of them. Yep.
Fixed at 25.
Now
so
the handhelds are different. Yes, the handhelds are different.
Yeah, but these are 25 watts.
Yes.
Now, antenna, a good antenna well placed is important in terms of making these things work, right?
The higher the antenna, the further it will go because it's line of sight, and you've got to take into account the curvature of the Earth and things like that. So
Right,
yes,
right.
the higher it is, the further it will go.
Yeah. One of the nice features I like about these, in contrast to maybe 10 years ago, is this new DSC button functionality they have. And you see the button here, it's usually in red and it's got a little cover on it so you don't inadvertently hit it.
Correct.
Can you help people understand what DSC is?
DSC is called Digital Selective Calling. There's actually two main features about DSC. First, and more importantly potentially, is the distress feature. So with DSC, it's going, basically you enter your MMSI, which is a number that identifies you and your boat.
Register that with the authorities.
Yep. So you can get it through Boat US. If you're a Boat US member, it's free.
Okay.
And basically you enter that into the machine, and then when you hit that, assuming that you have GPS integrated, it'll tell you not only your position, but all the information about your boat, etc. And you. So if you don't have GPS integrated, it'll just send the MMSI info, so your information, but without the positioning.
Yes.
But the nice thing about that is that a lot of the units have GPS integrated. And so, like for instance right here, we've got the ICOM 324, which is being replaced by the 330. But similar, under 200 price point. And so you can get it in white or black like we have here, but the GPS is integrated, like this one here with GPS. The antenna is all integrated, so you don't have to link it to one of your chart plotters.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice feature.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look down here.
Okay, sure.
We have one other unit we'd like to show them if we can.
So this is the Standard Horizon GX 2200. This has an AIS receiver in it.
It does.
Yeah, so that'll tell you positioning of other ships that are transmitting their location and information. So
that's a great safety feature.
Yeah, it's nice to know where other things are around you and which direction they're going, especially if they're a tanker. Now, it's not a transceiver. It will not send your position. So if you want a transceiver, you have to buy that, or buy a transceiver or get one that has it all integrated into it.
I see.
Now, the thing about transceivers is there are very few that you can sell over the counter. Generally, they have to be pre-programmed. So if you buy through West Marine, you can buy it online, and there's a form you fill out with information about where on the boat it's being positioned, etc. And then they'll pre-program it and send it out.
Right. So that's a cool thing. But a lot of people would find value in just the basic model.
Absolutely. Yes. Definitely.
Well, Ian, it's hard to believe, but we've got to wrap up the show today.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And we covered a lot of ground, from fish finders to GPS to different screens, all sorts of electronics. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up the show today?
Yeah, well, I mean, like most electronics, the marine electronics is evolving constantly.
Yes.
So a lot of new technology out there, a lot of things that we haven't even gone over today. So, if someone's got, older technology, it might be time to think about upgrading, because there's a lot of conveniences and safety features that are new. And so you can go to any marine retailer, and like any, we have a great assortment. So if you need to learn more, obviously you can always go to westmarine.com or visit your local retailer. So for sure.
Excellent. Thank you, Ian.
You're welcome. Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you, Smart Boating viewers, for joining us. If you got comments or questions, visit our website, www.smartboatingus.com. Thank you.